Studying can be quite a challenge when there are so many things that can make it hard. For instance, do you often find yourself trying to study, but your attention keeps getting pulled away by your phone beeping or other distractions? Or maybe you have trouble focusing for a long time and your mind starts wandering. Figuring out how to manage your study time alongside everything else you have to do can feel like a puzzle. And when it comes to remembering what you've learned, especially if the material is complex, do you find yourself struggling? If the subjects you're studying aren't very interesting to you, it can be tough to stay motivated. Plus, if there's just so much to learn, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. If any of this sounds familiar, know that you're not alone, and there are ways to tackle these challenges and make studying easier and more effective. We have solutions for these challenges. While studying can be tough, there are practical strategies to overcome these obstacles and make your learning journey smoother. 1. The spacing effect. The spacing effect, also known as distributed practice or spaced repetition, is a learning principle that suggests that spreading out your study sessions over time is more effective for long-term retention than cramming all your studying into one session. In other words, instead of trying to learn everything at once, you space out your learning and review sessions. The spacing effect is based on the way our brains naturally encode and retain information. When you first learn something, it's stored in your short-term memory. Repeating and reviewing the material over time strengthens the connections between neurons in your brain, allowing the information to be transferred to your long-term memory. Break down material. Divide your study material into smaller chunks or topics. This could be chapters, concepts, or sets of flashcards. Create a study schedule. Rather than trying to cover everything in one marathon study session, schedule multiple shorter study sessions over a period of days or weeks. Review and repeat. After you've studied a particular chunk of material, review it again after a short interval. Then, review it again after longer intervals. For example, you might review the material the next day, then a few days later, then a week later, and so on. Use flashcards. If you're using flashcards, go through them regularly, focusing more on the ones you find challenging. As you become more comfortable with a flashcard, increase the time between reviews. Mix subjects. Interleave different subjects or topics in your study sessions. This helps your brain distinguish between concepts and strengthens your overall memory. Imagine you're learning a new language. Instead of spending hours studying vocabulary in one go, you could study a set of new words for 20 minutes. Review those words the next day. Review them again after a few days. Continue to review at increasing intervals, reinforcing your memory of the words over time. By spacing out your learning and repeating reviews, you'll find that the material becomes more solidified in your memory, and you'll have a much better chance of recalling it when needed. 2. The Feynman technique. Next, let's explore the Feynman technique, named after the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman. Step 1. Pick something to learn. Start by choosing something you want to learn better. It could be anything you're curious about, like a space fact, a historical event, or a tricky math rule. This technique works for almost anything you want to understand. Step 2. Learn about it. Now, find some books, websites, or videos about your chosen topic. Take your time to read or watch them. Make sure you understand the main ideas and details. This step is like gathering all the pieces of a puzzle. Step 3. Explain like to a kid. Imagine you're telling your younger sibling or a friend who doesn't know much about the topic. Use really simple words and sentences. Avoid using complicated jargon or fancy terms. This step helps you break down the complex stuff into easy bits. Step 4. Find what's hard. While explaining, you might notice parts where you get stuck or confused. These are the areas that you don't fully understand yet. It's like finding the missing parts of your puzzle. Step 5. learn more. Now, focus on those tricky parts. Go back to your learning materials and try to figure out those parts. If it's a science concept, look for more examples or ask someone to help explain it to you. Keep doing this until you feel more confident about those difficult bits. Step 6. Explain again. Time to explain the topic again, but this time include the new things you've learned. Make your explanation even simpler and clearer. Imagine you're explaining it to someone who knows even less than before. Step 7. Keep repeating. Don't stop now. Keep going through the steps. Explain, find what's hard, learn more, and explain again. Each time you do this, you're making your understanding stronger. It's like building a solid foundation for a house. By following these steps, you're making the complex topic easier to understand, and you're also training your brain to remember the important bits. 3. The Leitner system. The Leitner system is a widely used method for efficiently learning and retaining information, especially flashcards or other types of study materials. It was developed by the German psychologist Sebastian Leitner in the 1970s. The Leitner system typically involves the use of multiple boxes or compartments, each representing a different level of knowledge mastery. Here's how the system works. 1. Box levels and placement. Imagine you have a bunch of flashcards with new words you want to learn in a foreign language. You start by organizing these cards into different boxes, which represent different levels of difficulty or familiarity. Typically, these boxes are labeled Box 1, Box 2, Box 3, and so on. At the beginning, all your cards are placed in Box 1, which signifies that you're not very familiar with these words yet. 2. Review process. When you start your study session, you pick up the cards from Box 1. You go through each card, one by one, and try to recall the meaning or information associated with it. After attempting to remember, you flip the card to see if you were correct. If you got the card right, you move it to the next higher box. If you got it wrong, the card goes back to Box 1. 3. Spaced repetition and intervals. The magic of the Leitner system lies in how it handles the timing of reviews. Cards in each box have a different review interval. The idea is that cards move up through the boxes as you successfully remember them over time, and the intervals between reviews become longer. This is based on the psychological principle that spaced repetition helps you remember things better. For example, let's say you're reviewing Box 2 cards every day. After a few days, a card from Box 2 that you consistently recall correctly might move up to Box 3, where you review it every 2 days. If you still remember it after those 2 days, it might move to Box 4, with a review interval of 1 week, and so on. 4. Graduation to mastery. As you keep reviewing and moving cards up through the boxes, you'll notice that some cards consistently move into higher boxes. When a card reaches the highest box and you can recall it effortlessly, you've pretty much mastered it. You might choose to review these mastered cards less frequently since they're now firmly embedded in your memory. The Leitner system's manual implementation involves physical boxes and cards, but there are also digital tools and apps that automate the process, making it more convenient to apply in modern learning scenarios. By using this system, you can efficiently learn and retain information, whether it's vocabulary, concepts, or other study materials. Try out all these different techniques. See how they work for you and which one you find the most comfortable and effective. Once you've decided on the technique that suits you best, make it your preferred way of learning. And don't forget to include the habit of studying before bedtime as part of this technique. Studying before bed is supported by scientific evidence for better memory retention. During sleep, the brain consolidates information, enhancing memory. Spaced repetition, like reviewing before bed and again the next day, improves learning. Circadian rhythms influence cognitive function. some peak in the evening, making bedtime studying effective. Quality sleep matters. Moderate, non-stressful learning before sleep doesn't harm sleep or memory. Remember, the path to success lies in perseverance, consistent effort, and finding the strategies that work best for your unique learning style. Good luck on your learning journey. So don't forget to leave a comment below each video, sharing your thoughts, reflections, and any topics you'd like us to delve into. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our vibrant community of life alchemists. May your path be filled with laughter, gratitude, and the purest form of happiness.